given a try on this one? Anyone?
Yeah, I will try.
Vira, are you in hostel or somewhere? Okay, fine. Fair enough. Okay, so I hope you understood what is this joy and all. Okay, I suggest you to go with the most of the validation parts, like as much as you can, and try to explore more about this validation part. Okay, if you come back to the app.js, you remember like we have added something what we did, like we have taken a Morgan Express and we have added a middleware. That's a global middleware. Whatever we have added that part. And if you want to add any middleware by yourself, I wrote something like a test middleware. So where is this test? If you come to the test, and I have given some conditions based on that, and the next tick is always there. Remember, always the middleware contains three parameters: request, response, and the next. Once the request came to the here, it will take the parameters, either it is the query parameters or body parameters, whatever it is. Just it will take the parameters and it will write some validation here. If the validation is passed, then only you can go for the next tick. Otherwise, you just send back the like response dot send or response dot with status something. You can give the status and you can send back here from here. And you need to prepare one schema object, that is joy object. Inside the joy object, you can add as many as variables, like whatever the variables coming from the front end. You can add your all your validation here. From there, you can go ahead and write your validations here. So there are some asynchronous functions you can write it here. As I mean, if you are writing something like a await of something, then definitely you need to write a synchronous function. Basically, await can be used only with asynchronous. If without await you can write async, but without async you cannot write a await. So definitely make sure while you are writing await, definitely you need to write asynchronous functions here. So always make sure you are using a try catch. I suggest you to go with either a callbacks, promises, and async await one more time. Basically, these are the most frequent things which you are going to face in your interviews. So definitely go with those things. Okay, so come back to our. I'm sorry. Where is that? Okay. Now, okay, let's go with the Express one more time. Expressjs.com. So here you can see like getting started, and if you start with installing Hello World, Express Generator, basic routing, everything is done. So we will go with the one by one topic. I think writing a middleware and using a middleware, you are already aware of that thing. Today we will talk about a routing. So routing refers to how an application endpoint responds to the client request. So remember one thing: while you are writing a router, there must be like your application is divided into different modules. For example, see, for example, if you talk about this express, home is one kind of module, getting started is another module. Inside that there are like other features. Guide is one of the module. Inside that there is other features. API reference is one of the module. Inside that other features. Just like that, for example, let's say if you are implementing some library application, for example, okay, inside library what you will have the users, you will have the books, you have the admin, right? So different kind of sections are there. For example, long time logging in the sense, let's say the user came to our application and he entered a login time. So we will note that down. And logout time, we need to track that by using in our database. We can save all the details. Right? Tomorrow end of the month, we can say that okay, this is the particular user. Every day he comes to this time to this time, and on an average he spent 30 hours in your library. So definitely we need to do that one, right? So everything here is depends on the modules, like how much modules you are implemented. The more number of modules, the code you will become more clumsy. So to avoid the clumsiness, we will use a concept called a routing. What routing will do, routing will divide your application into a basic mod, I mean different kinds of modules. Okay, so how we can implement this by using a module system and all. Okay, first of all, go to your application. Okay, here I have something called app.js. Okay, right. Give me 1 second. What I will do, I want to prepare one no document. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. Okay, first of all, this is a app.js, right? So we will write app.js here. And what else we have? Middleware test folder is there. And request filter inside the test folder. Okay, middleware test folder. So control C. I will prepare notes for this one. I'm sorry, guys. Like yesterday and day before yesterday, I was busy with some personal stuff. Middleware. What is that? Test dot. I mean, let's say request validation file. Okay, inside the request validation, we will have this piece of code, and then we will have handlers with the success validators, success handlers. Okay, so inside the success handlers, we have something like this. Clear? Learn. Okay, save. Let's say uh, basic test validation. Okay, done. Fine. Now I can close this one. Or else, did we forget anything else here? Okay, inside the app.js, we have package.json. Anyways, we have. So I will copy the package.json as well, so that I can you can go ahead and explore these things as well. Right? Done. What else we have? Log.json we don't need. App.js we don't need. Already done. And abc.txt we don't need. Node modules we don't need. Test file already done. Success handler we done. Okay. So this is the notes I will share with you guys. Like in our documentation, I will share it. Now, today's session, what I will do, I will just implement some routing and all. For that purpose, what you need to do is, okay. Today's session, I will just try to finish that as soon as possible. But don't worry, if you don't understand or if you don't get the things, please raise your hands or else unmute your speakers and you can speak out here. Okay. Okay, first go to the app.js. Inside the app.js, I will try to clean up little bit things. So one is express.js, that is fine. Then and the next one is a Morgan, really we need it. And this request validation is there, right? I will change this request validation file name, something like this. Rename to validate API. Okay, validate API.js. Okay, you can keep it any name, but just for naming purpose, I just kept it like this. Now come back to app.js, and here it is removed that one, and validate API is my file name. That's it. Okay, request validator. What we have here inside a validate API. Okay, we have request a joy request is there, explore.txt is there. Why? Sorry, age is able. Okay, now we are having a request validator and age. Okay, both the things are fine. Just keep it as it is. Okay, we need both the things for our testing purpose. So validate API is a meaningful name. Okay, and don't keep it for a text. Test is not required for us. So I'm just removing this test. Go to the validate API. Only request validator is enough for me. I don't need all this test method. Okay, just remove the test method. It is really not required for us. Anyways, do you have a backup note? So we can go ahead and we can just give it a try. Okay, done. So now our code is enough to handle the request validators. Inside the request validator, we will check like a username. If a username is there and the email is there and the request inside the request, we have something called a required attribute is there. That name should be there and it should be alphanumeric and minimum 3 characters and maximum 30 characters. For the email, what I will do, I have something called a .com and .net. Those are the emails only we are accepting from our user, and this is a required field. Okay, for that, first of all, come to here and where we are including this request validator. Okay, I don't need this app.get. I will remove this one. And inside the dev, you need to, I told you, right, there is a .dev you need to use. And about, I don't need this one. And okay, create user is there, right? Inside the create user, I will have this one. Success handler, once you go for a success handler, yes, your request is passed. That is what we want. So a part of this one, what I will do, I will just send it something like a user created. Oh, sorry. User created successfully. Okay, this is what I want to show. That's it, nothing much. Okay, now my job is done for a request user endpoint. Let's say done. Now come to the end. I mean create user dot get. Okay, fine. So let's say if you want to have another what it is called, another endpoint, or let's say there is another endpoint you want to add. Okay, inside the success handler, right? I just don't want to put a success handler. Instead of that, create user handler. Okay, so I will just rename this one with my file name as well. Okay, rename create user handler.js. Okay, so yes, wherever it is imported, that's automatically changed. So whenever success handler is there, this thing supposed to change create user. Okay, the create user handler, I will paste it here and I will invoke this one. See, I'm not doing anything new. Whatever we have earlier, the same thing I'm trying to do here. Okay, just a name change, that's it, nothing much. Okay, now it is a user, right? That is fine. Did you guys install Postman in your machines? How many of you are done with the Postman installation in your machines? or how many are not done yet, please let me know. If you guys need any help, I can help you here, at least after the session. I'm done. Sandeep, I'm done. Great. What about Veera, Tejashvi, Divyansh?
Sir, I have some issue with my laptop. Today I'm using my office laptop. It is asking admin credentials actually.
Okay,
So
fine.
maybe I'll
So
try
just
to.
when you open the Postman, right, you can see the basic stuff, something like this. What happened, Tejashvi or Veera? You guys are not answering.
Sir, Veera here.
Yeah, Veera.
Yeah,
Oh,
actually I'm
you
using
answered.
my
Sorry,
office
sorry.
laptop.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I thought like your voice is like Divyansh was. That's why. I'm sorry. Okay, Divyansh, what about you? Okay, just try to install man. Okay, so what I will do, when you open this one, right, you can see this collections here. Okay, inside of the collections, I think already I shown you. You can create your own workspace, or you can log in with your, yes, Tejas, you installed. Great, thank you. So go to collections here. You can see the plus symbol, create new collection here, right? When you click on that one, the new collection will become like a, just create a blank collection. Okay, so I created a blank collection, right? By the time it is showing something like this, so you can go here and you can change the name either here or right click here and rename. That is also one of the options. So what I will do, I will just type something like a node, learn node collection. Okay, so this is my collection is learn node collection. Okay, one collection is nothing but set of some requests. Always remember that one collection is a set of some requests. So when you go here, right, when you open learn node collection, and the left bottom you can see add request button is there. That link, just click on that add request link. Okay, here you can define your endpoint. I mean to select whether it is a get or post or put or delete. So now I want a get collection. Okay, something like a, what you will do, http colon double slash something like a local host, right? Inside the local host, what you will have, our endpoint is with the name something like a create user. Okay, so just copy the create user from here and go to your postman and paste it here. Okay, so when you use a get create user, right, by that time basically what is happening, right, you need to pass two parameters. Why? Because if you hit the send button, right, I'm sorry, I need to restart my server. Npm run start. From today onwards, I think by today you will get a complete understand on Node.js. I'm damn sure out of like 50 to 30, 60% definitely you'll understand. Our server is running on port number 3000. So what I will do, I'm running on a create server method. I'm just save this one. You need to save this request name. So 01, I kept something like a create user. Okay, this is my endpoint name is. Okay, I can give any name. I just save it a create user. So you can see here, learn under learn node collection. You can see learn create user. When you hit on this one, right, it will definitely give you an error, something like a 400 bad request error in validation, something like this. Okay, so what we have one request manipulate. I mean, it is like the middleware is there. Just go to that request middleware. It is showing something like a, you definitely need to have a username and the password. Okay, username and the email. Sorry, username and the email. So what you need to do, simply you need to pass the parameters, something like a username, something like a value, let's say, and ampersand email. Email is something like a test@yahoo.com. That's it. Okay. Now, when you click on hit button, right, basically what is happening? Error in validation. Seriously, what is happening? Get create user. There is an error in validation. Error is username is required. Username is undefined. Email is there. So why the username is not there? Username, email, right? Save. Inside the parameters, it is there. Okay, first of all, go here from where we are taking query.username. Okay, sorry, username, small case letter. Okay, username. Now let's go here and hit there. And now you can see user created successfully. Great, user is created successfully. And remember, we are not saving it inside any database and all. We are not up to that part. So for now, you cross your middleware. I mean to say, like, you just went through your middleware and then create user handler invoked. And when you go to the create handler, you are directly sending a message like user is successfully created. But to be frank, you are not created yet. Okay, because we are not saving anything. So just hold your uh, zeal just for 2 minutes. Okay, I will create one more handler. Let's say I have one more handler. Okay, inside the handler, like something like a get users list. Let's say get users list.js. This is my handler. Okay, let's say now if you go here, some whatever create user is there, similarly get users will be there. Okay, so I just put a name something like this. Okay, just a minute, I'm sorry. I'm renaming guest users list handler. Okay, make it a consistency, like whatever the names you are giving, right? Just make it a consistency. So I'm just writing something like this: get users list, get users list handler, right? That's it. Great. Now we have a request and we have a response. Now what I'm trying to send here, basically I need to send some users list, right? So I will go with the response dot send method. Inside the send method, whatever you want to send, you can send it. I just want to send it as an object. Inside the object, let's say I have some array. Okay, inside the array, oh sorry, just sorry. Okay, let's say there is an object. Inside the object, let's say there is a users list. Okay, this is a user's information. Let's say it contains some array. Inside, object may contain anything. It's a key value page. This is a key and this is a values. And let's say this is my first user and this is my second user. Let's see. Okay, now my id is there. Id is something like a 1, and here my id is something like a 2, let's say. And here the name is there. Name is something like a uh, Bal, let's say. And similarly there is another user, something like this. Oh sorry, name something like a mm, let's see. Okay, let's see, whatever it is. Okay, now you have a two users. Now whenever the get users list handler is invoked, then immediately remember one thing: you are directly calling from the app.js. Okay, I'm not having any request handlers or request validators here, because it is simply a get call. Get call in the sense what? Whenever there is a duplicate request is there. Okay, wait, I don't want to create a duplicate list. Another, directly click here, duplicate. Oh, I'm sorry. Right click here, there is option create user is there, a duplicate is there. Okay, control D. Now I will change all the stuff here. Instead of create user, I will just do something like please organize your code or anything, whatever you are writing, make it a consistency, like get users list. Okay, this is what my endpoint is. I don't want all this stuff. Instead of that, I want to have something like a get users. This is my endpoint. Okay, whenever you hit the endpoint, just a hit here, you can supposed to see like all the users list, whatever the users you have created, that. So now there is no get endpoint users list. So that is the reason what I will do. Basically I will create another endpoint, something like app.get. Okay, so get users. Okay, this is what the endpoint, right? Get users. Now I wrote a get users. Now there is no request validator for this one, so remove that one. Create user handler, no, it's not a create user handler. Instead of that, I will take another variable like a get users list handler. Okay, this is what we want, equals to require of something like this, dot slash middleware slash, oh not a middleware, handler, right? It's a handler. So handler slash, okay, what is that? Get users list handler. Okay, this is what we want now, right? So get users handler list is there, right? Just copy this one and paste it here. Now whenever you are using a get call for a get users, then definitely I'm expecting a this list of all the user handlers. That is a one is a value, second one is a penalty, let's say. Okay, now go here and hit this. See, I got the users. But if you remember the thing, let's say in your library system, let's say in your library system or wherever, whatever the system. Now I'm talking about the library system here. What we have admins. Normal users are different and admins are different, right? Similarly books is a different. For every different endpoints, we can't write thousands of endpoints here directly. Instead of that, what I want to do is I just want to create something like a user slash create user slash. That means all the endpoints or routings belongs to users, that is at one place. Similarly, I have another stuff. For example, let's say there is a books router. Okay, inside the books router there is something like a create book. I mean to say, like, let's say there is some new stock came to the library, and what admin will do, he will log in and add that book into our website. Okay, now by that time, what I want something like a create book handler, let's say. Create book handler. Similarly, get books. He wants to see the get books. Okay, all the books details. So he will check like a get book list handler or get books list handler. Now it is not only just create and get, right? We have something like a update. We have a delete. Let's say the book is done. Okay, gone. Somehow the book is sent from one library to somewhere, some other place. So he wants to remove that from the database. So there should be some endpoint. Similarly, the same thing happened for the users. Let's say the same thing happened for admins and all, right? So I don't want to write a thousands of endpoints in the same place. As I told you, remember your app.js should be a very smooth, clean, short, and simple, so that users can easily utilize this stuff. Okay, so for that purpose, see, I'm just commenting out for all this code for now, because I don't have any endpoints and all, right? So always remember that while you are writing your code should follow few of the things. Okay, what is that? First of all, your code will hit the app.js. Okay, this is your very first entry point of your application. From then, it will go and check the global middlewares. Whatever the global middlewares are there, it will go to the global middlewares. From there, the local middlewares will invoke. Okay, but I mean, after global middlewares, we will write a next function, right? After next function is called, then immediately it will come to the local middlewares. When the local middleware is called, here we are calling the next function. So once the local middleware is invoked, after it work is done, then it will go to the controller layer. Controller layer. Okay. From then, okay, from not controller, before that it will go to the routing layer. This is your next step. Once the routing layer is done, from there it will go to the controller layer. From the controller layer, it will go to the service layer. Okay. Same way, the response will come back. Again, service layer will go and talk the DB layer. DB layer in the sense it can be anything. Either it can be a SQL database like Oracle, SQL, MySQL, PostgreSQL, anything, or it can be NoSQL databases. NoSQL database in the sense what? Either it can be a Redis or MongoDB or anything, or it can be any REST endpoints. It can be any third-party libraries, like whether it can be implemented by using a Java or .NET or PHP, whatever the other server tail language. They just expose that particular link, API link. From that link, we can connect to this one. This is a very important point. Just remember that app.js to global middlewares to local middlewares to routing layer to controller layer. After controller layer, it will go to the service layer. From service layer, it will go to the DB layer. The same way, once the DB responded with some response will come to the service. Service will give hand over that response to controller. Controller will do some manipulation here. I mean, whatever the data is required for the end user, it will only take that particular end user response, and it will send back to the routing will go back again and give it to the app.js. Of course, this local middleware and global middleware will never invoke, because these are only invoked one time. Okay, only one time purpose. One time in the sense, whenever you are calling something like app.use of something, this is a global middleware, so it will invoke only one time. And similarly, whenever you are writing request validator, it is a local middleware. This local middleware will invoke and it will return something, and whenever the response comes back, right, this request validator won't touch again. So just take down some pen and paper, and please write down these things: app.js, global middlewares, local middlewares, routing, controller, service layer, and the DB. Okay. Have any questions? No. Okay. So in app.js, we saw that what is app.js. Go ahead. SQL stands for the structured query language. NoSQL, the name itself indicates there is no structured query language. That means in the SQL, the data will be saved in the form of tables. Either if you go for Oracle or MySQL or SQL Server or PostgreSQL, right, the data is inside in the form of a tables. So to fetch the data from the tables, you need to write some queries. Like you need to use a DDL, DML, TCL commands. Means, select star from table. SQL, right? Okay. You don't have a NoSQL. NoSQL in the sense, NoSQL is completely depends on a JSON. I mean to say, like, well, let's say if you're talking about a MongoDB, all the data is saved in the form of objects, JavaScript object notation. Objects in the sense, see, in the table, let's say the table one is contain some kind of data. Inside the tables, let's say there is another table too. Again, it should also contain some kind of data, like, columns, rows, and all. But in NoSQL, it is not like that. It is in the form of object. For example, let's say I'm talking about a table. In the table, let's say you are writing one table. Okay, the table is a student table. Let's say. Okay, inside the student table, what are the parameters or columns you will see basically? One is a serial number, right? Next one is a name, right? Serial number and name. For example, like a marks one, or something like that. Yeah, marks one, something like this. Okay. Now, if you talk about a one record in a stable student one, see, same student should contain all the fields. For example, if you make a name field as a mandatory, every student should contain a name. That is a one type of constraint, right? Definitely you need to follow that rule. So every record or every student must contains a serial number, name, marks one, total, and all. Okay, maybe age can be optional, so maybe age is may or may not be, right? Some people may have age, some people may not be have the age. For example, this is all talking about a structural data. I mean, it is like structural query language or SQL, it is happening. But if you are talking about a NoSQL database, right, inside the NoSQL database there are no tables, everything is objects in the form of objects. You know, in a JavaScript, let's say there is one object contains serial number, name. There is another object which may contain serial number, marks, age. That's it. There is no such a rule like name should be there. There is no such a rule like age should be there. There is no such a rule like mark should be there. You can put only one record, or I mean one kind of data, or you can put two kinds of data, or you can put another three kinds of data. Anything is fine. Objects won't stop you to add the data, or definitely there is no such a rule, strict rule like okay, you definitely have to enter the data. Objects are a free form. You can put any data or you can remove any kind of data. For example, in the object one, you have serial number, name, marks one, marks two. I mean marks one and age. In a next object, I mean on the same collection, these are called collections. Inside the collection, you can have a serial number, name, and directly you can have a total and average. Nobody will ask you like why you are not entering a name and all, because it is one object and it is one object. So collection of all object is nothing but a collection of all objects is nothing but a collection, right? That in the name itself, it's a collection. Okay, in the NoSQL database, NoSQL, that means you don't need to write any queries. These are all objects. You can gather all the information in the form of objects. You can return that in the form of objects. That's it. Yes, right, right. In the NoSQL, there is no such a rule. So any kind of data you can add. REST in the sense that is a third party. Okay, I will show you. Just a minute. Open source data. Let's say at world.data set, there is one site is there, something like a data.world slash pets world. Okay, so now for example, if you are going with there are 8 pets available on data.world. Okay, just a minute. Okay, dogs as in rules. Okay, something like this. Okay, somebody just a minute, wait, not this one. Okay. Petstore.swagger.io. There is one site is here. Okay. Basically, what will happen? Usually, this is open source. Swagger is open source, just like a Postman. Swagger is also one kind of tool. I mean, to like you can download and install, and you can go ahead with the online as well. Okay. So if you want to learn a Swagger, that is a different part. I'm not talking about a Swagger here, but I just want to show you. These are all the open endpoints. Okay. For example, anybody can hit this data and can get the data. Okay, so Swagger will directly explain you like how this kind of data is there and all. For example, I just want to add a pet to the new store, right? Wait. Pet by ID, deletes ID, returns pattern. Okay. For example, these are all the data. Create a list of get user by name. For example, get user by name. Okay. If you give a user by name something like a string, okay, the name that needs to be fetched user for a string. For example, you have given some name, okay, and if you just hit a tryout, right? Something like a Balu. But to be frank, there is no such a name Balu in the database. Just execute here. Okay, it will return something. A 404 status code response 404 user not found. Okay, so is there any option to get logged all the users and all? No. For example, what I will do, I will just go with the create user. Okay, create with the list. Create user slash create list with user for a given input array. Okay. Now try it out. Okay. Basically, what it is asking: ID, username, first name, last name, and so I want to give a username as a 1001. Okay. First name username is a Balu, and okay, Balu T, let's say. And first name is a Balu and last name is a Tagada. Okay. I'm going to insert this data. Okay. TLADA, and email is a test at the rate of yahoo.com. Okay. Password is HELLO HELLO and BALU at the rate of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's say, okay. And phone number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, 10 days. User status is a, let's say I want to make it as active, so 1. That's it. See, this is one user creation. But if you copy this one and just paste it here, you can create any number of users. For example, 1002, something like a test user. Okay, let's see. I will show you test user. Okay, so test and let's say that's a user. Okay, remaining everything let's say same. Okay, now if I want to execute this one, right? Okay, I executed this one. Okay, what I got the response? It's a 200 response. That means that is a user successfully inserted. Now, if I get the username with Balu and try to execute this one, uh, did I execute this one? Okay, wait, execute. Okay, response, it is executed, successful operation. Okay, that is done. Now if I come back to here and username is a balu t, let's say, and execute. Okay, so now I got a response, C1001 balu talada. This is what I inserted just now, right? See, this is completely a open source. Open source in the sense, how I am hitting this one? Simple. This is a curl. Curl means that is a complete information about this one. So what they told, they have exposed their information. See, I have a server, I have a database, I have a code base. Just copy this one and just use it in your code, and you can insert all your users in my database. Okay, so what they are saying is, we have given a open source to the world, so you utilize and you can play with this one. What I will do in the further classes, I will take this endpoint, I will ask you to prepare these things, like go here and check the models and whatever the data you are sending, use the node.js and try to insert the data in this particular petstore.swagger.io. That means these are nothing but a REST endpoints. These are called the REST endpoints, representational state transfer endpoints. Okay. In the REST endpoints, what we will do, we will take the open APIs and we will execute that. Okay. So the same thing I am explaining here. It can be DB layer, can be a database with a SQL, database with a NoSQL, right? Or database with a JSON. In the JSON, there is no such a term called a DB. It is completely a REST, because the third party will store all the information. We don't care about those things. Okay, so these are called the REST. See, the better example is, let's say if you are going for some sites, right? They will ask you to sign in with the Gmail or sign in with the Facebook, right? So basically, what you are doing is, once you click on that one, it will redirect you to the Gmail, and it will take your username and password, and it will return one token. Now the token will return back to our server, and our server people will save that token. They will not save your username and password, only token. Next time when you again come to our site, and if you try to log in, by that time, what our site will do, first it will check in our database, and it will send that token to them, and Google will say that, okay, right, this is the right guy, so you can log in, right? Okay, okay. So what it means, like, the data security is there. Google, we can trust the Google, right? So that is why we will ask Google, right, boss, can you just authenticate this user is a correct user or not? We don't need to do any background validation and all, because Google will take it. So how the Google will work? Google will not give the access for their servers to us. They will not see us like, okay, this is my database, you can use that. No, Google won't do such a kind of stuff. Simply, they will give one endpoint. With that endpoint, we can call the Google server and we can save the data. That's it. This is called the representation state transfer. That is a REST. What you need to do, go to Google and search like what is a REST and try to learn more. Okay. Still, if you have any questions, I am here to help. No issues. Okay. Now, guys, just a minute. Okay, now what we need to do, see, we are writing app.get of user, app.get of books and app.get of admin, all the different endpoints will be there, right? So I don't want this much of clumsy code. Okay. Okay, so that is the reason what I will do. I will go for a basic routing. Okay, so nice. Now, how we can implement our routing, right? So basically, what we can do, there is something called a router method is there. Okay, first of all, go to here, go to express routing, read about this stuff. Okay, probably you can easily understand once your routing is learned, you can easily learn this one. But still, I'm just explaining you. There is something called a router method. Okay, how that router method will do? Whatever the endpoints you are writing for everything, as I mentioned, handlers and handlers in this, these are nothing but a controllers. Okay, I'm just renaming these things. Something called a controllers. Controllers will respond back to you for everything. That is the reason you need to give a controllers. Controller slash create user controller or controller slash get user handler, something like that. Of course, these are handlers, but if you don't want to go with that big name, I'm just renaming these things again. Back, I will put just a create user is my yes. Similarly, get users list is there, right? Something rename. Right. That's it. Yes. So wherever we have imported, there it will update. Okay, create user, right? I will just make a name, something like a create user here, and get users list is there. These are comes from the controller. Now the same thing. Create user is here, and similarly get users list is here. Right? Great. But what routing will do? For routing, if you want to implement a routing, you need to have a separate folder called a routes. Okay, so routes is my folder. So how I can write the folder inside of the routers? I will just create a go to routers folder and just create one file, something like a user routes. Let's say user routes.js. For example, if you want to implement another route, something like a books routes.js. Similarly, if you want to handle, I'm sorry, if you want to handle another route module, let's say these are called admin routes. So all the routes which are belongs to admin will go to this file. All the routes which are belongs to books go to this file. All the users routes will go to this file. Clear? This is a module wise. I just created everything by using a module or a feature. I can say it is a feature. When you are starting library management, right? First, what they will ask for a user routes. So you will go to all the user routes. Again, in the next sprint, they will ask you to implement the admin routes. You will implement admin routes. Later, they come up with a new feature called a books routes. You need to implement a book routes. Something like that. Okay. So first of all, user routes in the sense what you will do. First, you will take const express. Definitely, you need to take express. So, how you can include the express here by using a requirement, require of express. This is what you did in your previous sessions, right? That's it. Simple. Now, when you want to implement a router, there is something called express dot router is one method. Whenever you are implementing this router, call this method and keep it inside of a variable constant called a router. Okay, you can give any name. It's not simply a router. You can give any name, but I'm just giving a meaningful name. See, naming conventions is very important because tomorrow when you leave the project, but somebody is calling that method, right? Definitely, in your case, they will started scolding you if your code is really not good. Just imagine you are going for a new project and the project code is really yeah, without any naming conventions, proper coding standards. Definitely, you will start scolding the old people, right? So don't give a chance to others to scold you. So that is the reason I'm just expecting you to write a meaningful names, right? Okay, export dot. Sorry, you need to use a modules dot export. This is the method you remember last time we did this modules dot export method. Okay, you need to just send the router. That's it. Nothing. Okay, done. So if you want to give some meaningful name for this one, this is user router, right? So I just make it a user router. Okay, just take a user router. That's it. Simple. Now, how you can call this router? Make sure if you are calling this user router, let's say you can write any methods on this one. All HTTP methods can be implemented by using this user router. Let's say user router dot get, user router dot post, user router dot put, user router dot delete. You can mention any stuff. I mean any number of methods you can write it. There is no issue. Okay. I will go with first get method and you can see the other things. Okay, whenever you are trying to write a get method, basically what you need to do, you need to write something like this, right? Get users list, right? This is what we want first, the very first endpoint we want to implement, like slash get users list. By this time, basically what you need to do, you need to call see, you remember I told you when you are writing app.js, all the previous part is done. Now routing layer, you have already implemented a routing layer. From the routing layer, where the controller will go, it will go to the controller. Controller layer in the sense, where is the controller? Controller create user, get users list. This is what my controller, right? So get users list handler is there. Right? I just remove this one. Sorry, get users list. It is my name. My file name is get users list. Okay. Now copy this one. Just come here to the router and try to import that. Import that in the sense bring that one. Const. Okay. Sorry. You can directly paste get users list equals to require of what is that? You are writing that controller at dot slash no admin route. It's not works. Basically, 2/ you need to put because the path will go to one step back. Controller slash get users list. This is what your code, right? So once you get users list will come up, right? Okay. You can mention something like a get users controller. Let's okay. Get users controller dot that method. What is that method? Get users list is the method. This is what you wrote right here. Inside the get users list is your method, right? So what you did, you went for a router. Inside the router, go to the users route. Here, just user router dot get of get users list. Whenever this endpoint calls, then simply invoke the method from controller layer. Now it will go to the controller. Where is my controller layer? Get users list. Once it is goes here, actually we are calling directly like this, right? We should not call directly like this. Here, what you need to do, you need to inject the service in the service layer from there to database. And once the response come up, again, you need to hit back here. Currently, we are not writing any services in the database. So that is the reason I'm sending back my response directly from controller, just for your demo purpose. Okay. Don't feel bad. Tomorrow, again, I will write a services and include the database as well. Now, come back to again, I'm just repeating one more time. Your request will come to the app.js. Inside the app.js, app.get of users, get users list, right? Now what it is we are doing, we are directly bringing everything from the controller. No, that is wrong, because our flow should be app to routes to controllers, right? So this code is wrong. Where this code is wrong, so we will remove this one. We have removed that one. Now you need to inject only the router. Okay, what is that router is? Okay, just go to the user route. You are exporting this one, users route, right? Come back to here and users route equals to just inject that one. Require of what is that? Dot slash routes slash user routes. That's it. Once you got the user routes, from the user route, what is the method you are calling? Go to the user route. Inside the user route, that's it. Nothing much, right? You are calling the get users list. That's it. User route is enough. There is such a dot and just put a user route. And remember one thing, you are calling a get method, right? So don't put this get users here. Only put a slash user. That is enough. Just put a slash user. Now go to the user route. From the user route, you are calling user route dot get of get users list. From here, you will go to the get users list controller. From the get users list controller, you will bring back the response and send back to the routes again. From the routes, you are going back to app and you will show that to the user. And remember, when you are using a routing concept in your application, you should not use app.get. Instead of that, inside here, you should use app.use. App.use of see. I'm just commenting out this one. I don't need this one. Okay, stop here. So first of all, app.use of slash user and user router. Now it will go to the user router, app level to user router, right? Okay, once you come to the user router, here what you are doing, you are calling a get method with the slash get users list. Then it will comes to here and it will invoke this method, get users list. From here, it will go to the controller layer. From the controller, you are sending back the response. Of course, tomorrow we will add the services and database. Okay. Now, okay, I just stop here. Let's see. Once if I start my server, what is happening over there? Okay, module is not defined. Modules where module.export. Export, right? What is that? Module.export. Okay. Router.use requires a middleware function but got undefined. Routers.get having a middleware. Router.use requires. Okay. Where we are using a middleware? Are we writing any middlewares here? No. Go to app.js, just a router user. That's it. Route user. Fine. Everything is fine. I don't want this one. Stop this. I don't want this one. Stop this. Okay, for now everything is stopped. Only the thing is we are calling a slash user router. Okay, Okay. Oh, okay. What is that? Type error. There is something type error. What is that? Requires a middleware function but got a plus type. Huh? Give me a second, guys. Just keep this one. Close all others. I mean, close others. Okay, done. Now from here, I will go to user route. Okay, inside the user router dot get users list dot get users list controller dot list. Okay, go to this users list. From here, get user list is my function. Get user list is my function. Correct, correct, correct. Okay. Uh, 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 module dot module dot exports. Okay, fine. My spelling typo wrong. It is not export, it is exports. Okay, that's it. Remaining everything is no worries. Okay, what is my endpoint? Remember, slash user slash get users list. Okay, somebody is chatting here. Category of exports. That's what I'm telling. Right? Yes, yes is missing. Thanks, Sandeep. Okay, so slash user slash what is that? Get users list, right? Copy here and just put it. Now, when you hit on send button, what is happening? See, the data is coming fine, right? Now, let's say if you want to implement the same thing in app.js, if you want to implement the user route for a create user, okay. Now I will change the little bit. I don't want this stuff here. Okay, I will remove this one. First part. Second point, I don't want to use this app.get blah 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 and all. Instead of that, I will just take this endpoint. That's it. Okay, after what I will do, I will just write some endpoint something like this app dot user. Middlewares are very powerful feature in the Node.js, so we have to be very careful. Slash user slash create user, right? After that, what I will do, I will just a user route. Instead of user router, I will just put a user router here itself. Instead of a use, that's fine, user slash create user, right? Okay, now come back to here, go back to the user route. So here, if you observe this one, right, user dot route of get is here. Now I want to apply for the post. Inside the post, what I want to implement like slash create user. Okay, this is what I want. Create user. That's it. Now go to the controller. What is the controller? Get user controller is fine. I want to use no, I should not use a get user controller. Instead of that, I will do something. I will make it as a user controller. Okay, user controller. It's a common generic name, so that is the reason I will put a user controller. That's it. User controller dot get users list. Okay, now inside the user controller, I will just rename this one with something called a user controller. User list out, right? Okay, all this, yes. Okay, this is a get users. Similarly, I want to have another one, something like here, create user. That's it. I want to implement something like a create user. After this one, what I want to send is, I just want to send something like this. User, sorry, user created successfully. Right? That's it. Now, whenever I want to call this create user, go to the routes. Okay, implement that method like a user controller dot create user. Okay, now user controller is not having this one. I want to change this name. Where is the controller? This is the one, right? Go to rename, install, put something like a user controller, right? I don't need this create user and all. So I will remove this one, delete, done, gone. Now inside the controller, I have only one controller, which is a user controller. Inside the user controller, I have two methods. One is a get users list, and next one is a create user. Now come back to router. Inside the router, I have a user controller. Inside the user controller, I have user controller dot get users list, user controller dot create user. That's it. Two things. Okay. Now come back to app.js. Same app.user slash user routes. That's it. I mean, if you observe this one, both are same, right? Both are same. So now you don't need this one. Only one line is sufficient for two endpoints. You don't need to create a two calls. Only one call is enough. Whenever slash user with a get call with the endpoint slash get users, that means see this one. It came right. The request came up. Then the server will hit this call get users. Whenever the post comes up with another different call, then it will go to the create user call. Okay. Now I have currently one create user is there, right? I will change this current create user. Basically, you remember create user earlier we wrote something like a get call, but now it is a post call. So change that to post call. Done. Okay. Create user is my method, but I don't want to mention everything inside the URL because remember, whenever you are hitting a server with a get call, definitely all the parameters should be passed inside the URL. That is why they are called a query parameters. But whenever you are using a post call, all your data should send in the form of body. Inside the body, select this raw, either JSON or JSON is fine. Go to JSON, and inside the JSON, I mentioned something like this. My username is username, something like Bali. Okay, just a minute. If you are passing a JSON, make sure you are mentioning a double quotes and paste it here. Paste it here. Okay, now something like an email you need to mention. So put a double quotes and email, and inside the email you need to mention something like a test at the rate of yahoo.com. Okay, now let's say age. You need to mention something like a let's say okay age, and let's say if you want to mention something like a 32, let's say save. Okay, so this is a completely a create user call. Okay, now create user is a post call, but remember one thing, in the create user you need to append with a slash user slash create call. Whenever the request sees, the Node.js server sees that after 3000 what is there, okay, slash user. Now the request will come to the app.js. First it will come into the app layer. This is the app layer, right? It will check here. Okay, is there any validations are there? No. So these two steps are skipped. Now it will go to the routing. Where is the routing layer? User router. It will go to the user router. Inside the user router, this is a post call, and it will check the next part. What is the next part? Create user. It will go to the create user. Inside the user controller, create user method will be invoked. It will go to the create user method. So once it will go to the create user method, it will send like a user created successfully. Of course, we should not do like this. We need to go on service layer. From service layer, we need to go to the database and save the data and come back and send that response to the user router. And user router will go to the app.js and it will send back the response. Now let's see how our code will work. Okay. Now send. Oh, users are created successfully. Great. But I want to implement a joy validation. You remember that joy validation just now? We added some code, right? I want to put that joy code here. But where I can put? Go to the routes. Inside the route, this is where the actual code is calling, right? Before that actual code is calling, now what I will do, I will just take another variable, something like a request validator. Let's see. Okay, equals to. You remember we write some code here. What is that? Dot slash middleware slash validate API. It is what my method is, right? Inside the request validator, what we have? Just go here. Where is that? Inside the middlewares, we have validate API. Inside the validate request API, we are passing request response and next. And we are checking like if it is a username is there, email is there, then you send that my mail. I mean, we don't need this console and all. Just remove this one. Okay. And then it will, if it is a pass, then it will pass. Otherwise, it will share like there is a error in validation. Definitely, I'm expecting a error in validation when I'm running first time. I will show you and I will tell you why it will come. Okay. Request validator is my method, right? Go to here. While at the time of creating user, I want to use this one. Okay, done. Okay, so route.post requires a callback function, but got an object and object. Okay, route.post requires a callback function. Basically, this is a callback function, right? So basically, what I will do, I will just put it here as a method. It is not a controller, right? It is a method. So that is the reason we need to keep it inside the curly braces. Once if we put that one, request validator will invoke. After that, it will go to see. Now my code is correct, but still I will get an error. I will tell you why that error will come. I will show you first of all whether error is coming or not. Okay, if I hit a send this one, right, error in validation. Okay, so why I am getting it? See, everything is correct, then why I am getting this error in validation? Basically, whenever I call this request, first of all this middleware will invoke and username is required. See, this is the error. Seriously, I am sending a username that in a small letters, email is sending, but still I am getting an error. Why? Because whenever you are doing a post call, the data will go in the form of body. You remember I told in the form of body, it is not inside the query parameter. So instead of query, you need to do something like a body here. Instead of here, you need to write something like a body here. That's it. Okay. Now server is running fine. Now I'm expecting like a user is back created successfully. When you hit this one, right? Oh, error in validation. Okay, let's see what is that error is. There is error in validation. Typer cannot read properties of undefined user and all. Okay. First of all, I want to go here and put a console.log. Console.log and check what is there inside the request.body. Let's see. First of all, we will see like what is printing here, then we will fix this error. Okay. So here, okay. This is undefined. Risk. Hey, guys, can you just give me 1 minute? Spelling wrong. What is this guy? Asking. Just give me a second. Guys. Basically, he is a director. That's why. 1 second. Can you call? Guys, just hold for a minute. I will be back in 2 minutes. Okay. Just give me 5 minutes time, please. Okay. I'm sorry. Guys, I'm really sorry. I'm sorry. People, are you there?
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Ah, I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. Okay, where we have stopped. We are not read the proper and define. Okay, I would just want to check what are the request body. So if you observe this one, right, inside the request body, I'm getting a undefined value here, right? So I want to first fix this. First, we will fix this value. Okay, so first of all, check the request and see where our data is coming. Okay, then we can proceed with that. Okay, first of all, I will go here and I will try to hit my create user call. Okay, now this is my request. Inside the request, where is our data? Something like control F. Where is that? No results. Seriously? Request query, requested body. Seriously, post call is there inside the body. Balu. Yes, we send everything fine. What is that? Just a minute. We are sending a username. We are sending an email. Not treat property undefined tree name. Okay, where is that? Where is that? No. Okay, there is a error validation. So and so username. This is old one, right? No, 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 not this one. Let me rectify this. What is that request? Uh-huh. Just a minute. I will kill the terminal and one more time I will create new terminal so that we may get some. Just a second, guys. I will be back. Just a second. Okay. Just give me a second. What is that request is here? Let me restart my server and hit my slash user slash create user. Yes. So the middleware is passing fine, but that username is not here.
There is missing one property is there age.
No, no,
Hello?
no. I'm just checking like that body.
Body is username and email ID and age. We are sending in the postman. We are sending in three property values:
Right. Three property.
username, email ID, and age.
Right, I agree. I agree. What I am asking is why the body part is missing. Okay. I will tell you this. Basically, once you try to get the parameters from the body, definitely you can't get here until unless you have one module. I will tell you. I'm sorry, my mind is something different. Those people called me, right? Okay. So there is something called npmjs.com. Here you can see something like a body parser. Okay, body parser is one of the what it is called package. You definitely need to install body hyphen parser. Body hyphen parser is there. So you need to first install this one. So Node.js body parser middleware parse incoming request bodies in the middleware before your handlers available under the request.body property. You see this one, the point. So it will parse the incoming bodies. So first of all, you need to install this body parser. So where you will install this body parser, first of all, stop the server. Okay, paste. Oh my God. Copy, paste, array, npm y. No, that right click should work here. Okay, no problem. npm space I space body hyphen parser, right? body hyphen parser. Okay, it will work. No issue. Just give me 2 minutes. I will make it work. Okay, go to package.json. Okay, body parser is installed here. Now you need to take this body parser and you need to use inside the app.js. Inside the app.js, what you need to do? Const body parser equals to require of body parts. This is how we will use. Okay, just a minute. Go to the documentation, learn about anatomy of sensors. This includes multiple parts. Okay, connection body one. npm install body parser. Okay, that is done. Body parser we have taken. Oh, super, correct, exactly. So body parser dot json of options. Okay, options. The json function takes takes an optional options object that may contain the following keys: in flat, limit, receiver, strict type, blah 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 blah. Is there? Okay, we don't need anything. Just we will go with the simple example. That's it. Errors are there, then it's fine. Okay, app express body parser dot url encode format of this one. Yeah, this one you need to use. Okay, this is something like a app dot use of body parser dot json. Whenever you use a app body parser dot json, then what will happen, as we mentioned in the top of that npm package description, parses incoming request bodies in the middleware before your handler. Before the handler goes, first this method will be invoked and body dot request property will come here. Okay, fine, great. Now I'm running my sorry. npm run start, right? So now we are running our server. Earlier when you hit this one, right, by that time we are passing three parameters: username, email, and age. Of course, we are not talking about age. We are having a only validation for username and email. So now if I hit this one, right, you can see user created successfully. How come? When I come to here, right, control F, body parameter. If you see the body parameter, right, see, request.body contains a username, email, and the age. That means whenever the plain request coming to the node server request is not having the capability to parse the body from the request. So that is the reason what we will do. We will simply use a body parser package, body parser dot json. Whenever you did this one, every request contains this value. Now user route will able to, validate API router will able to read the body from request, and it will check the validation. If the validation is good, then it will show you something a successful response. Otherwise it will. Okay, now let's say I'm not sending my username. Okay, this is what I'm expecting. Let's say I'm not sending my username. If I'm not sending my username, obviously my validation will fail. I mean to say request validation will fail. Once the request validation will fail, automatically I'm getting error. So just hit on send button, error in the validation. This is all about today. If you guys have any questions, please raise your hands. Today, I think almost you know how to add a middleware. You know how to add a routers. Okay, I just added only one router regarding the user controller to user route. Similarly, what you need to do, you need to create a user dot put call to update the user information, or user router dot delete method to delete the user information. Similarly, you will create another route like books route. Books route contains all the APIs related to books, so that once you comes to here inside the app.js, simply app.user slash user router. Similarly, you will call something like app.use of something like a book user. So book, and this is a book router. Whenever you call a book router will go to the book routes, and here you will have a code from call the book controller. From book controller to book service to database. Again, the data will come back on the same. Please ask your questions. No more questions? See, now our app.js is very clean. Okay, so only one endpoint with all the router supported APIs. Similarly, one endpoint for books, one endpoint for admins, one endpoint for time management, anything. Okay. Thank you. Please send the code today. Thanks. Okay, fine. Can you please send the code today? Okay, I will share the code. We will do one thing. Just a minute. Okay. Hold on a minute, guys. Please hold on a minute. I'll just leave that. Drive.api. Okay. Here.